Okay, so my current obsession right now is genealogy, and I've traced my family history, both the um, findings of traditional genealogy and as well as genetic genealogy. Um, Currently, genealogy is the second most common hobby in the United States, right after gardening. It basically allows white middle class suburbanites to escape from their boring lives and see if they're descended from someone amazing. um, so, anyways, I was first introduced to genealogy by my grandmother when I was probably in junior high. She had traced her family, and I thought it was probably the stupidest thing in the world. I did a project on my family history in high school. It was, I pretty much just found my great grandmother's immigration records. She was from Krakow, Austria, Hungary. She came here and it was under the rule of Franz Joseph at the time. She came here in 1912, and my mom says that when things good happened, my great grandmother would say, "Oh, praise Franz Joseph." I don't know, which I find funny. So, anyways, several years later, I had a job where I was giving tours of Chicago, and I noticed that Chicago history paralleled my family history. My family were supposedly like some of the first settlers here, um, like in Chicago. I'm not exactly sure when they came. I know that my great great grandparents were living on DeKoven Street in the 1850s. I'm supposedly related to Miss O'Leary, whose cow was falsely accused of kicking over a lantern and starting the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. My great great grandfather was actually a firefighter. He didn't become until slightly afterward. He was like a teenager when it happened. He was born in Chicago in 1856. But anyways, oh yeah, also my mom's family came to the United States from what is now Poland in the turn of the 20th century to work at the Chicago Stockyards, which is around the same time the book The Jungle was written. It's definitely my favorite work of fiction because it parallels, probably because of the historical content. I had a great great grandfather who was a Chicago politician during the 1890s. I think everyone knows that Chicago earned its reputation for being as the Windy City for crooked politicians blowing hot air. Anyways, so right afterwards, I visited my grandma at the home, and she was talking to this nice British woman who took care of her. And they were talking about how they both had ancestry from County Mayo, Ireland, and County Mayo was like one of that how we both had ancestry from County Mayo, was like the area of Ireland that was like the worst affected by the potato famine. And she was saying how her ancestors, apparently, I actually have some of the statistics. I'm not going to get into the whole thing right now, but 750,000 Irish died, and another 2 million left their homeland for Great Britain, Canada, and the United States. And within 5 years, the Irish population was reduced by a quarter. Yeah, that's basically when my family came to the United States, my earliest ancestry. So I don't know when. I suspect it was the late 1840s. I still haven't found the record. I knew. Yeah, I probably shouldn't go into when I don't have the exact year. I know one of the branches came in 1854. That was my great great grandfather, Michael Ryan. He was born in 1846. And then years later, when the 6 years after arriving, in the United States broke out in Civil War, and my great great grandfather joined the Union Army and fought for the North. He was like only like a teenager at the time, which is ironically that's actually somewhat common for people that young to fight in the Civil War. But him and my great great grandmother got married on a Union Army base in 1865 during the final days of the Civil War. They had 13 children together, and my great grandmother was the youngest. She was born in 1889. My great great grandparents were in their 40s when she was born. Oh yeah, and that, like around that Civil War, I haven't found his records. All I know is that he was born in Tipperary, Ireland in 1846. He was in the Union Army and he was stationed in Kentucky. That's pretty much all I know, which isn't enough for the records. He later became a plumber and a Chicago politician. Well, alderman, which isn't that high up, but still a freaking Chicago politician. Let's see. That was my grandma's dad's family. My grandma's dad's dad was born in Chicago in 1856, and he was the first in our family to be born in the United States. He was related to Mrs. O'Leary, whose cow was blamed for kicking over a lantern and starting the Great Chicago Fire, 1871. My relative, pretty much all my family in Chicago at that time lived on the same block that the fire started on the Coven Street. That was kind of like, I guess, the ghetto, which was like filled with like Irish immigrants back in like the 1870s. Especially that's the potato famine Irish side. It wouldn't be till several years that I had another branch of my family tree come to America. I believe I had a great great grandfather come here from Austria-Hungary, which is now modern day Poland. I believe it was near the city of Tarnow in 1887. I had absolutely nothing about my maternal grandfather's family. My maternal grandmother's parents were both from what is modern day Poland. Her mom was from the part that was in part of Austria-Hungary under the rule of Franz Joseph at the time. Her family was peasant farmers. They were dirt poor, and she had to leave home at 11 because her parents couldn't feed her. And she ended up coming to the United States. She got a job working in a schoolhouse or whatever, and then came to the United States by herself when she was 19 to stay with a stepbrother. She had two brothers that stayed, and they both got killed by the Nazis. Both died in 1942. That's actually a really interesting story. I actually have only found out why in like just the past few months. Apparently, I don't know if I should get. Oh yeah, one of them died at the concentration camp Grossrosen. The other initially escaped the Nazis, only to be gunned down in an apartment by the Gestapo. I have absolutely no Jewish heritage whatsoever, and pretty much all 11 of my grandmother's children had blonde hair and blue eyes. And going to a family reunion, they pretty much freaking look like the Hitler Youth. So why did the Nazis kill him? They were members of the Communist Party. And people always like, cause I'm American, so basically everyone in my country is filled with idiots. So when I say like, well, I had relatives killed in the freaking Holocaust for being communist, and they're like, weren't the Nazis communists? No, they were freaking fascists. Those are all completely different philosophies. Okay. probably have to continue. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go really fast because I'm almost over the time limit. My great great grandfather was also from modern day Poland. I believe his town was under Russian rule at the time. Anyways, during Prohibition, my great grandparents became bootleggers. Oh yeah, my great grandmother worked in the Staussards. I don't know if I mentioned that. And my great grandfather never learned English. Like my mom says, they had to speak to him in Polish because he didn't know English. So, well, anyways, they were bootleggers during Prohibition, and they would pack up their 3 kids, take them to freaking Canada, and smuggle in a bunch of illegal alcohol into the United States, and that's kind of how they made a living. And then even after alcohol became legal again, they got involved with illegal gambling. My grandfather, my dad's parents were from Ireland. They were from County Mayo. His mom was a cougar. She lied on a wedding certificate to say she was born in 1884 when she was really born in 1878 because her husband was born in 1884. They had 2 kids. They got married in 1914, had 2 kids, and my grandpa was born in 1915 and my uncle was born in 1918. And then my great-grandmother got breast cancer and died in 1919. And then my great-grandfather remarried to my dad's step-grandma, which was the grandma he grew up with in Noon. She was from Newport, County Mayo, Ireland. Great-grandfather was from Westport, County Mayo, Ireland. My biological great-grandmother was from Akil Island, Ireland. I don't know, I'm giving that so much information. I'm running out. I actually have a ton more stories that I'm probably not going to have time for. Okay, bye.